How much do you know about the Chimes? Founded in 1946 as a barbershop quartet, this group quickly evolved into a campus institution. My name is Amanda Bloom, and this is the Hoya Live. One of the Chimes' most defining relationships is the Tombs, a bar and restaurant located just off campus. For decades, it has served as an informal stage and gathering space for the group. I spoke with Alex Lakay, Arjun Singh, and Aiden Metz to explain how this relationship has and continues to define the Chimes.
We have a long history of not only singing at the Tombs, but being so deeply ingrained with the Tombs. And I think what's really special is not only how the community rallies around us, but how the Tombs, in a way, and I think you two would agree with me, was designed around us being at Tombs. Richard McCooey, the original owner of Tombs, loved our group so much that he kind of commissioned the tradition of the Chimes singing once monthly at Tombs. Before, the 70s and 80s, when the Sweeps was built, the lower section, the upper section was the only part of the restaurant that was available to the public. And it would go silent, there would be no service, and the Chimes would sing. And they would sing in such a way that they could record albums. There would be mics hanging from the ceiling, the lights would dim. It was really quite the spectacle. And although you might not see that today, we still try to live on the tradition of singing at Tombs, dipping your tie in beer once you sing your first solo at the Tombs. And so it's such a special tradition to be able to sing there and continue the tradition of many, many, many generations of individuals, not only forming harmony down there, but also the fellowship of our brotherhood and the fellowship that we create with our community.
So the Chimes House actually came to be in 1987, when it was originally owned by the Tombs. And at that point, in 1987, this house was a complete dump, and the only people they could rent the house to were the Chimes. And since then, the Chimes have been in here, making this place into our home.
Beyond their connection to the Tombs, the Chimes have built a wide-reaching alumni network. Generations of their members have stayed involved long after graduation, continuing to connect with current members and contribute to Georgetown's campus.
I think what's so awesome about the Chimes is it does really represent the full body of Georgetown alumni and what Georgetown has to offer as far as diversity of states and countries and viewpoints and backgrounds. Some of our major alumni are one of the most famous, as many people know, is Senator John Ossoff. But we've had people have successful careers in banking. We've had Jesuits be a part of the group.
We have a saying, once a chime, always a chime. So technically, we don't have any Chimes alumni. They're alumni of Georgetown, but they are still Chimes. They're as much Chimes as they were when they were at Georgetown as they are when they're 80. And that's really what keeps our alumni network so tight-knit and so close together.
One of the great things about Chimes is our deep-rooted connection, not only with the Georgetown community, but with Georgetown University itself. Buildings such as Yates, the Colley Career Center, Lounger Library, have all been named after influential Chimes who have either given service to Georgetown through their commitment within the Jesuit community or through generous donations to our school that have had a lasting impact and had beneficial, trickle-down effects.
Each year, the group hosts 3 major concerts: Spring Sing, Decaf, and Cherry Tree Massacre. Over the years, Cherry Tree Massacre has become Georgetown's longest-running performance tradition, bringing a cappella groups and Chimes alumni from across the region together.
So Cherry Tree is one of the most exciting times of, our year. So Cherry Tree Massacre is the show that we host in February, where we invite dozens of guest groups to come sing with us across 2 or 3 shows each February. And that looks like a lot of logistical planning in order to set it up, but it always turns into such a success because we get to share our hard work, our sound, the sound of so many different groups which change from year to year, and bring that to the Georgetown community. We also dedicate one of those shows every year to be the alumni show. And for all these shows, we're also inviting the Chimes alumnus back to MC the show. And what that really does is offer an insight into how endless this group is. And it culminates with the singing of Goodfellow, which is one of the songs in our repertoire, with every single Chime and Chime alumnus in the audience. So that's always a very special moment for us.
But membership in the Chimes involves more than just singing. Each new member goes through a process called the neophyte process, a period of rehearsing the group's repertoire, learning about their history, and bonding.
So each of our members undergoes a process known as the neophyte process. After their audition, they're inducted as neophytes, or newbies, or beginners, essentially, in a process of what it means to become a Chime. During this process, we ask that members familiarize themselves with the entire repertoire, which can look like 130 songs in the current active repertoire at any given moment, at any given time. Get to know alumni through making alumni calls. Any of these people on the walls all are completely accessible to both neos, chimes, actives, to reach out to at any point and get to know on very personal levels, such that when you become a chime and when you get in, everybody really knows who you are.
Fundamentally, what we want to find out in the Neo process is this a guy who's going to come to Chimes Reunion? Is this a guy who's going to come to Cherry Tree Massacre? Is this a guy who's going to pick up a call from a neophyte in 40, 50, 60 years? Is this a guy who loves this group and understands what that love means? And so, yeah, it takes a while to develop, but I think that everyone who's gone through it can agree that it is so fulfilling to really bolster and foster that love and to have a real appreciation of what you do.
And I think just to add on to that, as one of the newest chimes, there's 292 of us and I'm 291. It is a very special process and moment when you hit that realization that you are committing to something bigger than yourself. These guys will be my ride or dies, life or death. Hopefully this group really commits to something bigger than yourself through philanthropy, through music, through fellowship. And it really brings guys together that I think all of us would agree none of us might have found each other if not for this group. And now we have that lifelong relationship that'll absolutely permeate through the rest of our lives.
This emphasis on shared knowledge has helped sustain the Chimes' strong culture for nearly 80 years. In addition to live performances, the Chimes have been recording original music since 1958. This year, they'll be releasing their first album since the COVID-19 pandemic, titled Desperate Chimes, Desperate Measures.
Yeah, we're really very excited about Desperate Chimes, Desperate Measures, or DCDM as we've been abbreviating it to. Our last album came out in 2016, that's Partners in Chime. Really COVID and getting back into the swing of things derailed an album for a while. So these past few years we've been making a real concerted effort to get into the studio, to record, to rebuild the institutional knowledge of how do you make an album from scratch. It has been a challenging, it has been a rewarding, it's been an expensive process, but we've always centered it around we're going to have this project to show our kids and our grandkids, and that we're able to create something that really lasts, we're ecstatic about. We're targeting a release late this semester, and stay tuned for some vinyls dropping around Cherry Tree.
From their origins as a barbershop quartet 8 decades ago to their place in modern campus culture, the Chimes have come to embody the spirit of Georgetown itself. Thank you for watching The Hoya Live.